Hello, church family. I'm back. It's Wednesday, and so here's your Wednesday Minister Moment. A few days ago, my wife and I were eating dinner, and we decided to call our oldest daughter, Kayla, and actually FaceTime with her. And so that way we could see her on the phone. And it turned out that she was sitting down to eat dinner too, and our granddaughter, Azaria, our 3-year-old granddaughter, was with her as well, and they were both eating dinner. And so we got to have dinner with them over the phone, and so that was kind of cool. But as we were talking and visiting, Azaria began to act kind of silly, and so she made a choice to pick up the pepper shaker, and she quickly licked it. And then we saw her face. It wasn't a good decision. Now, Cheryl and I laughed at that a little bit, but Zaria quickly realized that doing that to a pepper shaker is not a good thing because it tastes terrible. Plus, her mom got onto her a little bit and said, Azaria, don't do that. And so at this point, Azaria is kind of embarrassed by the whole thing. And you know, we could have gone into great detail explaining to her why this is unsafe, or it's not sanitary, you're not supposed to do this, we don't want you to do this in restaurants and all this stuff, and got real upset with her and made a point. But really what she needed at that point was simply just a little grace. She already suffered the consequences. She figured out that this was not a good idea, and she actually realized that on her own. She needed grace. You ever been in a situation like that? You made a statement, you said something, you did something, it seemed like a good idea at the time, but suddenly you realize that that was a terrible idea, and in fact it actually hurt somebody's feelings, or it was offensive to someone else, and you didn't really think that through. And then what happens is you feel all of this judgment. You know that it was wrong, you know that you made a mistake, but now you feel the judgment and you feel the shame that people are pouring upon you. We live in a society like that, where it seems like judgment follows quickly. And sometimes it's not just that there's some judgment, it's that judgment is what remains. All the other good things are forgotten. The context of the situation may even be ignored, but the judgment's there, and that now you're suddenly labeled by that one act. And what we really need in our world, I think, is a little bit of grace. There's a story in Luke chapter 7 where Jesus has gone to a Pharisee's house and he sits down to eat. Now, where they would eat at that time, the way they would do it is they wouldn't sit down in chairs like we typically do. They would be on the floor, maybe on pillows, and their feet might be sticking out a little bit. Well, at this meal, this woman walks into the house, and the Pharisee realizes that she is a woman who is sinful. And we're not told exactly what her sins are. We just know that she is someone who is seen by the community as a sinful woman. And as a result, the Pharisee looks down upon her. He is disgusted with her. And what she does, she walks over to Jesus and she begins to weep, and her tears fall upon his feet. So she kneels down and she begins to wipe his feet with her hair. And then she puts perfume onto his feet as she continues to weep. She begins to kiss his feet. Jesus realizes that this Pharisee is looking at him thinking, Jesus, this guy must not be a prophet, because he certainly doesn't know who this woman is. And if he was really a prophet, he wouldn't let her touch him. He was surprised by the fact that Jesus let this woman touch him. The Pharisee would have never done that. And so Jesus begins to talk to the Pharisee about a story. And as he goes on with the story and he finishes that, to explain to him what it means to really be forgiven of a lot and how much love that can bring, he looks at the woman and he tells her that she's forgiven. The Pharisee is surprised by that. And the woman feels this forgiveness from Jesus. What she gets from the Pharisee is judgment, accusing eyes. What she gets from Jesus is forgiveness and grace. Jesus says to this Pharisee that whoever is forgiven much loves much. And this woman was a prime example of that, because she loved Jesus, she loved God greatly. When you go out during the week, Maybe you're driving down the road and someone is driving too slow in front of you. Or maybe you see a social media post that you disagree with. Maybe you go to the store, you're in the grocery store, and the line's too long, and the person who's checking people out is going too slow, and you're frustrated. Maybe you are at a restaurant, and the waiter or waitress is slow, maybe not doing their job the way you should think that they ought to. Maybe you see a neighbor that you've had an issue with before. Or you run into somebody that you don't know, but you don't like the way that they look. There's something about them that you just don't like. What I want to encourage you to do in those situations, and maybe in others that you come across, is to offer grace. Follow the example of Jesus by offering grace. Because in those situations, you don't know the context of those for those people. And maybe what they need is a little bit of grace. Maybe, just maybe, if you follow Jesus' example, you'll have a tremendous impact on that person that day. Because what they need from you is just a little bit of grace. I hope this is encouraging to you, and I hope you have a great day.